Welcome back, everyone. Well, when you think of virtual reality, you may think of some futuristic movie or the latest gaming technology, but it's so much more. I recently sat down with the co-founder of technology company Futurus, Annie Eaton, to talk all about how virtual reality is pushing the boundaries of technology. Take a look. Annie, I'm so thrilled that you're here. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay, let's jump right in. I want to talk about your company first, but tell me how virtual reality, you got the bug.
Yes, so with most great companies, they come out of a partnership of some sort. I actually met my co-founder at a previous company that we both worked at, and he has been a virtual reality enthusiast since the mid-90s. He got his first headset over 20 years ago, which to me, I guess I was in elementary school then, but he had a great background in it, and once Oculus came out with development kits for people who are interested in development, and it was a much lower cost option to what military and medical were using in the past, the $1 million rigs. Now that it was finally accessible to people, he had brought it into work, and I was in the marketing department, and I saw initially uses for this in marketing, training, testing, those types of situations, and I knew we had to do something, so we got together and we started working on creating cool products.
Okay, it's Peter Stolmeyer is your partner, right?
Yes.
And I read something that he said that made total sense to me, and he was explaining it like in 2007 when we all got iPhones, and if somebody were to say to you, oh, do you have this app? You'd be like, what's an app?
Right.
But now we all have tons of apps, and we can't live without our apps, and he was saying, that's kind of the pathway of virtual reality.
Yes, and we got into it in 2014 before there were commercials with Samsung Gear VRs and just before mainstream knew what it even was. So we did have to go through a lot of educational workshops and seminars with our prospective customers to get to this point, but it was a great time to get into the field for sure.
Yeah, it seems like there was definitely a need for it. And speaking of a need, that's what your company specializes in, is people come to you to look for how can we use virtual reality to make our brand better.
Yes, so we have a consulting side to things where we do come up with creative ideas and ways to use this technology to help their brands. And then we also have the development assets, and I have a great development team who actually makes these ideas come to life.
That's so cool. Talk about VR in Atlanta and what's going on now in the scene.
Yes, so I guess I have a pretty good in with the VR community. I was one of the founders of the Atlanta Virtual Reality Meetup group now, which now has about 800, a little over 800 members.
Right.
So it started out a lot smaller, but we actually just had an event this week for developer speed networking, and there were about 40 people that came just to meet other people who were working on similar things. We have to kind of seek out ways to talk with each other now, but there is a great community and it's growing, and there are a ton of talented developers in this city, and people don't really realize that.
Yeah, I love that. I love, one, that Atlanta is getting so much attention for just the talent that is here, because it seems like we have such great pipelines with Georgia Tech and Emory, and just keeping and cultivating that talent is very important to the tech community. So cool. Where do you see VR going globally, and then what are you focusing on?
Yeah, so as far as globally, we also work on augmented reality technology, which is kind of a sister technology to VR. And I see the two of those kind of growing up hand in hand, and also merging and kind of blending in some ways. And I think as they both continue to grow across the world, adoption will only continue to increase. As far as what types of experiences I think are going to be the best. Right now, of course, gaming is huge. Our company doesn't specifically focus on gaming, but that's an industry that's gone beyond what anyone would have thought. I mean, there are esports now. I see that bleeding into virtual reality as well. But we're using it for marketing and training and even testing in industries like automotive, financial, sports, all sorts of different industries, hospitality, and everyone who's picking this technology up and actually taking a chance on it is generally pleased with what they find.
All right, Annie, thank you so much. I would say sky's the limit, but it's not.